Coming up, the only abortion service provider in North Dakota is talking about the potential impact if Roe v. Wade is overturned by the Supreme Court. An area police department is welcoming their newest canine officer to the team. And how Governor Doug Burgum wants to make the state's power infrastructure more resilient. Hello and welcome to the Nightly Review. I'm Tom Tucker. We begin with a look at tonight's headlines, then a closer look, with comments tonight from the director of the only abortion service provider in the state of North Dakota, talking about the impact on her patients if the U.S. Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade. Then in tonight's one-on-one conversation, how and why a single mom in West Fargo is talking about a miracle. But first, tonight, a Fargo man is facing burglary charges after he was found hiding in the basement of the VFW on Broadway. Police responded early yesterday morning to a report of a burglary at the building and found an open door. A canine officer helped the human officers find Gustavo Ruiz, who initially refused to leave the building. He was later arrested and suffered a minor bite wound from that canine officer. Meanwhile, the West Fargo Police Department is welcoming the new canine Thor to their team. Thor is an 18-month-old German Shepherd and Belgian Malinois cross and specializes in narcotics, patrol work, and tracking. The superhero pup will be replacing canine Macho, who retired with the promotion of Assistant Chief Pete Nielsen. The West Fargo Police Department now has 3 canine officers. A neighborhood in Horace is surrounded by floodwater. People in the River's Edge neighborhood say they experience drainage issues when water levels run high. City engineer James Dahlman says the neighborhood was constructed by a private builder and has adequate backflow prevention. The neighborhood was built about 5 years ago. With 15 candidates looking to fill 5 open positions on Fargo School Board, candidate Lynn Telford explains what makes her unique.
What makes me stick out, I think that I have previous board experience with the Board of Health, which just has given me insight with operations of a board and the oversight governance structure. The work that I do at Sanford, I work with accreditation and certifications, and so I do a lot of policy oversight.
Telford says she plans to focus on mental health for students and staff if she's elected to the board. North Dakota corn growers are pleased after President Biden lifted the summertime ban on the sale of E15 gas. E15 uses 15% ethanol blend and is typically not allowed to be sold during the summer. Corn growers say the announcement is good for both producers and consumers. North Dakota Farmers Union President Mark Watney says increasing the fuel supply will likely cause a drop in gas prices. Governor Doug Burgum says more can be done to make North Dakota's power infrastructure more resilient. Burgum met with the state's Industrial Commission this week to talk about ways that power companies can prevent major outages like the ones that happened last month during back-to-back blizzards. The widespread outages left many oil pads without power and reduced oil production. A student in Duluth, Minnesota is in custody after allegedly bringing a gun into a classroom. Administrators say the student brought the gun into the classroom at the Area Learning Center yesterday morning. The student was taken from the classroom and the gun was confiscated. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is facing at least 2 decades in prison after reaching a plea deal in his federal civil rights trial. Chauvin pled guilty yesterday morning to 1 count of violating George Floyd's civil rights during the deadly May 2020 arrest. Prosecutors agreed to dismiss a second civil rights violation charge and a set of charges related to allegations that Chauvin badly beat a black teenager with a flashlight in 2017. The judge sentenced Chauvin to 20 to 25 years in prison. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is joining with other state attorneys general in calling for President Biden to cancel all federal student loan debt. Ellison and attorneys general from several other states sent a joint letter to Biden urging him to erase all federal student loan debt through an executive order. In sports news, for the 3rd time in 10 seasons, the Minnesota Vikings are heading to London. The NFL has announced the Vikings will be the road team for a Week 2 game on October 2nd, taking on the New Orleans Saints. The game will take place at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That will leave the Vikings with 9 home games at U.S. Bank Stadium this coming season. In a closer look tonight, the director for an abortion clinic in Fargo is talking about the potential impact if the U.S. Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade, the case which legalized abortion in the United States in 1973. Tammy Kromenaker is the director of the Red River Women's Clinic, the only abortion service provider in North Dakota.
Well, we serve patients from North Dakota, parts of South Dakota, and northwestern Minnesota. So all of those folks in a huge swath of geography would be left without the very necessary abortion care that they've come to rely on at Red River Women's Clinic for the last 24 years. And so that is going to leave the most vulnerable people behind.
Kromenaker commented this morning while appearing on WDAY Midday. North Dakota is one of 13 states which have trigger bans in place, which means if Roe v. Wade is overturned or diminished, most abortions in North Dakota would become illegal. Kromenaker also commented on the demonstration that took place earlier this week in front of the Cass County Courthouse after the leak of a Supreme Court document indicating the court could overturn Roe v. Wade.
I was not there. I heard about it. I'm not surprised at the number of people. We know from the recent past in 2014 when a ballot measure was put to North Dakotans to ban abortion that 64% of them voted against that ballot measure. The vast majority of North Dakotans and Americans overall support access to abortion and support abortion rights.
Some abortion service providers in Minnesota say they expect to see up to a 25% increase in demand for their services if Roe v. Wade is overturned. A decision on that is expected sometime before the end of June. Well, I hope you enjoy watching the Nightly Review with Tom Tucker for all the news you need to know for the FM Metro and the surrounding region. If you do, please be sure to hit subscribe and the bell button below to make sure you're always up to date. Well, another day of spring-like weather around the region for us to enjoy, but what about the upcoming weekend? Meteorologist Justin Storm has a look at the forecast from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Thank you, Tom. We're looking at mostly clear to partly cloudy conditions across the area through this evening as well as throughout tonight, and temperatures stay mild, only bouncing down into the mid and lower 40s with a light south wind around 5 to 10 miles per hour. The wind does pick up a bit on Friday, still tamed though, around 10 to 20 from the south-southeast. We'll see partly cloudy conditions through the day with a high of 66 and a slight chance for a couple spotty isolated showers Friday night. Another beautiful day for Saturday, partly cloudy with increasing clouds through the day. It will be windy with a high near 70, with likely a line of showers pushing in late in the day into Sunday morning.
It could happen to you or someone you love. One moment, one diagnosis can change everything. Thankfully, there's a program that helps caring people uplift families through a crisis. Lend a Hand Up, raising financial help and hope through community benefits and online campaigns. A program that boosts generosity so gifts go further. Lend a Hand Up helps you help your neighbors. Learn more and give at lendahandup.org.
Welcome back to the Nightly Review. In tonight's one-on-one conversation, the focus is the work of Habitat for Humanity in the FM Metro. The local chapter is teaming up with Fargo-based Border States Electric to build a new home for a single mother in West Fargo. Habitat is facing a challenge in meeting demand, largely because of soaring costs for building materials. I spoke with Habitat's Resource Development and Marketing Manager, Pete Christopher, about this latest project and asked about teaming up with Border States.
Well, affordable housing is really trendy right now. Everybody's talking about the need for affordable housing. We've been doing affordable housing in our community for over 30 years and worldwide for over 40. It all starts at home, right? Where if people have a decent place to live, they can really thrive in their work and their education and all sorts of different things in their community development. So, a company like Border States is a perfect partner for us because they're in the building industry too. They understand the building world and what it takes to put up a home. And so we're excited about their excitement to be joining with us. And it's going to be an awesome build.
So do I understand correctly that most of the construction on the home will take place in the parking lot at border states, and then at some point it will be moved to a permanent location in West Fargo? Is that right?
You got it pretty well dialed in. We'll get it at least through what we call dried in. So it'll look like a house from the outside. A lot of the interior finishes stuff won't be done here. And then we'll move it to its permanent location in West Fargo. So it's really, we don't do a lot of these builds off-site like this. But an organization like Border States being, it's important for us to get our name in front of people that work at places like Border States and the community as a whole. So this is a great opportunity for us to be in front of people. Normally we're building in a residential area where we might get a few cars that drive by. Well, we're going to get thousands, hundreds of thousands that drive by in the interstate. So it's a great opportunity for us. There's a few more challenges with it, but they're fun challenges to try to solve.
Your chapter, Lake Agassiz Habitat for Humanity, last year built 4 homes in Cass and Clay counties altogether, despite a sharp increase in home building costs. What is it like now for you to operate in such an inflationary environment? And what about the impact on operations this year?
Yeah, it's a big challenge for us. We saw, over the years, maybe a $10,000 increase from year to year on our houses. 2 years ago, we were building our houses for $160,000 with volunteer labor. This year, unfortunately, we saw a big increase in 2021, and we're expecting another big increase in 2021, and seeing a big increase in 2022 here too. So, and unfortunately, that had an effect on our work. We were planning to do another 4 or maybe even 5 homes this year, and unfortunately, we dropped down to number 3 to 3 homes because of those projected increases in costs. So, that's another family that we had to say, I'm sorry, we have to wait another year at least for you to get your home. So it's a challenge, even with volunteer labor. Our costs are low, but it's a big deal to put up a house, and it's a sad deal. But our work is too important to stop, and so we're going to press forward and do what we can.
I'd like to thank Pete Christopher with the Lake Agassiz chapter for Habitat for Humanity for joining me for tonight's one-on-one conversation. Pete says the mother who will take ownership of the home, Penina Adam, will spend 250 sweat equity hours in helping build that house. Adam says Habitat for Humanity is a miracle for her family. Good for her. Well, that will do it for this Thursday night, May 5th, 2022. I'm Tom Tucker. Thanks for watching the Nightly Review.